January 1st, 2026. This date became a deadline for California's richest people. Billions of dollars moved. Companies relocated. Mansions were sold. And one of the greatest wealth migrations in history began. So what was so dramatic? Hi, I'm E.Parker. I continue to bring you exclusive news from California. If you're new to this channel, I research, story, and present the most important, interesting, and impactful news from the Golden State. Today's news concerns perhaps one of the biggest economic earthquakes in California's history. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications. Because this story is just beginning, and you'll want to stay informed of every development. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter. California Governor Gavin Newsom made a shocking admission in a statement on January 13, 2026. He said that his state's proposed wealth tax policy is really damaging. Yes, you heard right. The governor is criticizing his own policy. So what exactly is this wealth tax? This proposal, which will be voted on in the November 2026 elections, is supported by the Service Employees International Union. The plan is very simple, but the consequences are enormous. On January 1st, 2026, everyone residing in California with a net worth exceeding $1 billion will pay a one-time tax of 5% of their wealth. It may not sound like much, but when you look at the numbers, the situation changes. For example, someone with a net worth of $10 billion will pay $500 million in tax. This tax will be collected in 2027, but taxpayers are offered the option of spreading it over 5 years and paying interest. Now, the critical point here is, this tax will apply to everyone living in California on January 1st, 2026, so even if you moved after that date, your place of residence at that time is important. And that's exactly what started the big chaos. But I want to ask you this. If you had billions of dollars in wealth and someone told you, tomorrow we'll give you 5% of your wealth as tax, what would you do? Many billionaires gave a very clear answer to that question. I would move. And that's exactly what happened. December 2025, records at the California State Department began to show strange activity. Dozens of companies were officially reporting that they were moving their headquarters out of the state. But these weren't ordinary companies. These were companies owned by the founders of some of the world's most powerful tech giants. Larry Page, you've probably heard his name. Juan de Google, one of the richest people in the world. In December, several businesses affiliated with Page moved out of California. According to official records, these companies are now registered in other states. But the real bombshell dropped in real estate transactions. Larry Page bought 2 luxury mansions in Miami. Total value, $173 million. Yes, $173 million. For 2 houses. So, why Miami? Because Florida has no state income tax. In California, the highest income tax rate is 13.3%. With wealth tax, California has become a very expensive place for billionaires like Page. Sergey Brin, the other co-founder of Google, has also moved some of his business operations out of California. According to the New York Times, details haven't been fully released yet, but records indicate the move has begun. And another name, Larry Ellison, the chairman of Oracle and a giant in the technology world. Ellison sold his San Francisco mansion for approximately $45 million. Where is he moving to? Hawaii. He'd been living there for some time, but now he's completely severed his ties to California. Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal and a renowned venture capitalist, has also announced he's moving some of his business activities out of the state. Details are limited, but the move is certain. Now, let's stop and think about this. These aren't just rich people. These are legends of Silicon Valley. The people? Google, Oracle, PayPal. These companies were symbols of California's economic success. And now, their founders are leaving the state. According to the New York Times, more than 20 billionaires are currently considering moving out of the state or have already taken action. 20 billionaires. That's a fortune in the trillions of dollars. Governor Newsom said exactly this in an interview with Politico. This was my fear. What I warned about is happening now. Gavin Newsom is one of the rising stars of the Democratic Party. He's a nationally recognized politician. But right now, he's in a very difficult position. In his statement on January 13th, Newsom spoke very harshly. The evidence is clear. The effects are very real, not just serious economic effects in terms of income, but also indirect effects on startups, on people questioning their long-term, medium-term commitments, he said. And he added, that's not what we need right now, in this time of uncertainty. The opposite is what we need. Newsom said that the wealth tax makes no sense and really harms the state. He is openly criticizing a policy supported by a large part of his own party. But the interesting thing is, Newsom didn't support this tax from the beginning. The California governor's office had previously stated to the Wall Street Journal that they were against state-level wealth taxes because these taxes drive away wealthy residents. Newsom also criticized the wealth tax proposals at the New York Times Deal Book Summit in December 2025, emphasizing that California is in a competitive environment. He said, states cannot isolate themselves from the other 49 states. And that's true. There is freedom of movement between states in America. If taxes are too high in one state, people can move to another. Especially when it comes to billionaires. It's very easy. Newsom now says, this wasn't how I wanted to spend my final year. 2026 is a turning point for Newsom. And this wealth tax crisis could cast a huge shadow over his legacy. But Newsom is hopeful. The good news is that there's overwhelming opposition to it. I think it will be defeated because people understand what it does, not what it promises, he says. So Newsom believes this tax proposal will be defeated in the November 2026 elections. But the damage has already been done. Now, let's look at the effects of this on the California economy. Because it's not just about a few wealthy people moving away. It's about an entire ecosystem. California is the richest state in America. If California were an independent country, it would be the 5th largest economy in the world. It's a leader in technology, entertainment, agriculture, energy, everything. But California's budget relies heavily on taxes from high-income earners. The richest 1% of the state pays approximately 50% of total income taxes. Now, consider this. What happens if people in this 1% start moving away? Budget deficits will kick in. Public services will be disrupted. Education, healthcare, infrastructure, everything will be affected. And it's not just a loss of tax revenue. These billionaires are the people who invest in startups. The venture capital that keeps Silicon Valley afloat comes from them. If these investors leave, young companies won't be able to find funding. Innovation will slow down. Businesses will shift to other states. Consider Larry Page moving. Page isn't just the founder of Google. He's a venture capitalist who's invested in dozens of tech companies. If he's no longer in California, where will he make his new investments? Probably in Florida, Texas, or another state. And what about the employees? If Page's companies move, the employees will go to engineers, designers, analysts. California's most talented workforce will start flowing to other states. It's a domino effect. One stone falls, and it takes the others with it. And of course other opportunity. Florida, Texas, Nevada. None of these states have a state income tax. And they are all aggressively trying to attract California's wealthy. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is openly appealing to California business people, saying, come here, taxes are low, regulations are minimal. A similar situation exists in Texas. Austin is now referred to as the second Silicon Valley. Tesla, Oracle, and other large companies have moved their headquarters to Texas. Even Elon Musk moved from California to Texas. Now, here's a very important question. How do the people of California view this situation? Those who support this wealth tax proposal say it will bring social justice. They say billionaires should pay more taxes and that money should go to education, healthcare, and infrastructure. The Service Employees International Union claims that by supporting this tax, they are defending the interests of the working class. And there is logic to this argument. Income inequality in California is very high. While a software engineer in San Francisco earns $300,000 a year, homeless people in the same city live on the streets. This gap is growing. But those who oppose it say that this tax will harm the economy. They say, if you scare away the rich, nobody will pay taxes. And what is happening now supports this argument. A Californian entrepreneur friend of mine said to me, I love this state, but it's getting very difficult to do business here. The taxes are high, the regulations are numerous, and now there's this wealth tax. When are we going to say enough is enough? The November 2026 elections will be a turning point for California. If voters approve this wealth tax, California will have taken a historic step. But no one can predict the consequences precisely. If the tax is rejected, then we will have to ask the question. The exodus of billionaires has already begun. Will they come back? Newsom believes the tax will be renewed. But the markets have already moved. Confidence has been shaken. And rebuilding confidence is much harder than losing it. California was once the symbol of the American dream. Sunny beaches, tech empires, limitless opportunities. The Golden State was a place for everyone. But today, that dream is crumbling. Billionaires are leaving. Companies are moving. And even Governor Newsom is criticizing his own state's policies. What does this story teach us? Tax policies aren't just numbers and figures. They are forces that influence people's decisions, shape economies, and change societies. California will make very critical decisions in the coming months. And these decisions will affect not only California, but all of America, because other states are watching. If California implements this wealth tax and it's a disaster, no one will try it. But if it succeeds, others may follow. I'm E.Parker, and I'll continue to bring you news from California. Subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the continuation of this story. Because this is just the beginning. Share your opinions in the comments. Do you think California is doing the right thing, or is it making a huge mistake by driving away the rich? Let's discuss. See you in the next video. Take care.